connected to your iPhone.
You're damn right you connected to my iPhone. Fuck you think this is? Playtime?
Yonder News.
Got too many devices. I got too many devices. I am so decisive. I got too many devices. A tablet, a PlayStation, an iPhone, and a laptop. They all plugged to my Wi-Fi. That internet will never stop. It'll never rock like this, man. This beat go too hard, so all my devices come together like a squad, and I'm on that. YouTube so live in the flesh, and I'm painting these portraits. I do it the best, and it's myself. So that's a self-portrait. It's myself. So that's a self-portrait. Got too many devices. PlayStation, an iPhone, a laptop, and a tablet, and it won't stop, so it won't stop. And gotta find room for this shit, 'cause I don't wanna drop my shit. Got too many devices, got too many devices, got too many devices, got too many devices, and I'm so decisive. Got a laptop and a tablet and an iPhone. I gotta go grab my what you call. Got too many devices, got too many devices, and I'm so decisive. Got a PlayStation, a laptop, an iPhone, and a tablet, and the internet just won't stop. Got too many devices, got too many devices, and I'm so decisive. Got a PlayStation, a laptop, iPhone, and a tablet, and the internet, it won't stop. Yonder. Too many devices, got too many devices, a PlayStation, an iPhone, a laptop, and a tablet, got too many devices, and I'm so decisive, yeah, and I'm so decisive. I got too many devices, and they all hooked up to my Wi-Fi. So my Wi-Fi so slow that I'm so high. And they all hooked up to my Wi-Fi. Girl, go through and say bye-bye. I'm in the basement making moonshine. And that shit tastes like apple pie. Ooh, Yando music.
Greek beef and turkey gyro.
I don't want no Greek beef.
Gyro. Mediterranean tacos, 2 for $6.
brain, so I know I'm insane. And them shadowy thoughts cross my mind, cross my eyes, and it leads me from the light to the blind. So I can't see the decline and the struggle when the snakes coming through. Wanna humble when they really wanna push you, when the cops wanna rush you and give you 1,000 years, or kill you in front of your peers, and nobody shed any tears, cause I'm already high. But I wanna roll another one, cause I really want another one, cause I really want another one. I'm already high, yeah. I'm already high, yeah. I'm already high, yeah. I'm already high, and I'm already high, but if you seen what I seen, then you stay smoking that green, and you stay dreaming that dreams, and trying to slide between them. Gotta read between the lines, cause if you don't, man, you might get stuck on your spine. That's flat on your back, and I ain't even lying, like, yeah. So I'ma roll another one, cause I really want another one. I'm already high, but yeah, I'm already high. I'm already high, but I'ma roll another one, cause I want another one, cause I want another one. If you seen the things that I seen, you will roll another one. If you seen the things that I seen, you will roll another one, cause I'm already high, but I wanna roll another one, cause I want another one. And if you seen the things that I seen, make your nightmares become dreams, make your friends become fiends, make the bitches become queens. Seen that I seen, then you will roll another one, cause I really want another one. And I'm already high, yeah, I'm already high, but I'ma roll another one. I'm already high, but I'ma roll another one. I'm already high, but I'ma roll another one. I'm already high, but I'ma roll another one, cause I want another one, cause I want another one. I'm already high, but I'ma roll another one. And if you seen what I seen, you will roll another one too, full of that green. I'm already high, but I'ma roll another one. I'm already high, but delicious. It tastes like a blueberries. You ever had a crepe? You ever had a strawberry crepe? Imagine smoking that shit. Imagine smoking some crepes. Yeah.
I gotta get to the bag.
If you've ever needed more capacity, more features, and more for your hard-earned dollar, the time has never been more right. Get guaranteed lowest prices up to 35% off our top brands like this Whirlpool Laundry Bear. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
The Home Depot. shit right there, yo. And that shit is heavy like the cracks rock I carry. And sling it to the hood, my own community. I really bear, yo, what's happening there? What's happening there? I got some whack freestyles, and I'ma be here for a while until it gets dark, and that's when I call up my man Art. And you know we like to spar some good weed, and then the conversation, yeah, start salivating. When the knowledge come my way, I'm never waiting, I'm just anticipating something more greater than myself, and that's gonna come, no debating. In the situation never stays the same. If you stay in your lane, then you gotta make a change on a different path, of course of life. Yeah, we gotta course it right. Yeah, every fucking day and night I still pray, cause I believe in the afterlife, not heaven and hell. It's something much better than that, where we all dwell. Past the physical, nothing but pure consciousness. Yeah, and I'm only using logic and a little bit of common sense. That's the and that's where the knowledge is. Yeah, I'm only using logic and a little bit of common sense. In between, that's where you find that the knowledge is. Ooh, and I never been to colleges, but I can tutor your children. Yeah, teach them how to use a ruler, and teach them how to not stealing. No more crack dealing, cause we on a different level. When I never need a shovel, man, I'ma need a ladder, cause I'm going up quicker than a fucking escalator. And I'm driving in the Escalade, man, like I'm in the damn parade, man. And everybody wanna wave, man, cause I am the fucking man, man. Yondo music. Cause we like to spark the doobies in the conversation till it gets dark. That's when my man Art I forgot how I said that first part. Like to spark the doobie in the conversation starts until it gets dark. That's when you see my man Art in the dark. Ah, yeah, yeah. I came to a conclusion that I'm never fucking losing. Bashing with your head, give you a conclusion. A contusion. Damn, I can't even say my words. And give you a contusion. Fuck that, I'm bruising. I damage and batter the beat so bad it doesn't even matter. My meat, I let it hang like my fucking nuts, and they swing cause I'm a grown ass man. I do my thing since way back in the day, since little snot-nosed kids playing in the dirt, trying to get big, making mud pies, and I started chopping up the crack. Now I'm selling on the corner, man, this shit is getting whack. Don't wanna go to jail, really wanna rhyme a wax, so I got a pen and pad, step my shit up in the lab, behind the microphone, trying to spit off the dome, but I can't get it right, cause I got some kids at home who really need to eat, so I gotta work a job, and baby mama got me on child support, trying to rob me from my fucking pockets, man. Yeah, that's my seed, but I'ma do everything I need and proceed to take care of mine, but you took it to the courts, and that's the worst shit, man. You never had no heart, and I don't give a damn, cause my family gonna thrive. Ooh, yeah, and we gonna survive, cause I always been alive like a fucking wire, and I got one pure desire to spread this motivation, this art and education. I say that all the time, man. It's no relating to that bullshit to get pulled quick. Fuck that, I move with a full clip. Wah. When I fart on a spark, I make art in the dark. Bars. This dude is crazy. When I fart on the spart, I make art in the dark. Bars. Oh man, what's good everybody? Hey, hey, hey. Cause I might kill the beat. 666, I might kill the beats. Cause I've been in the belly since I was born underneath the prison, the penitentiary, can't relief. Ooh. And I still can't believe that motherfuckers in no church. Wait a minute, I still can't believe the motherfuckers sitting in church on a Sunday praying to Christ, man. That's only one way to get it. But the true religion, everybody gotta understand we all spirits, and the spirit is energy. You can't dissipate it, you can't end it, you can only translate it to a different form. Yeah. You can't dissipate it, you can only translate it to a different form. And that's energy. Yeah. Sounds so sad. This beat sounds so sad, man. I'm so fucking high, yo. And I stay with them chinky eyes. Ooh. And I stay with them chinky eyes. Real fucking slanted. It don't matter, I still understand it. You can't see me, but I can see you, like looking through a tent on my rear view. As I cruise down the fucking Ave on the boulevard, fuck that. You know I still pull your card if you trying to rap against me. It's like a bully. It's like a bully on the schoolyard. You might get slapped up. Fuck that trap house, you might get wrapped up. I got that back up, got that pack up, like the, and I roll in the black truck. Damn, I just fucked up. I done smoked the whole damn thing, yo. Now I'm thirsty as fuck. Smoke to the cotton mouth. Yeah. Cause I stay with them chinky eyes. Cause I stay with them chinky eyes. Yeah. And you stay in the disguise. Boozy, what a doozy. Boozy, what a doozy. They call him a pimp cause he stay with a floozy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I stay with them kinky eyes. Stay with them kinky eyes. And I stay with them chinky eyes. And you never been real, you in a disguise. I stay with them chinky eyes. Yeah, you know I stay with them chinky eyes. Yeah. You know I stay with them chinky eyes. And you never been real, you in a disguise. Cause I stay with them chinky eyes. Yeah, and I stay with them chinky eyes. I stay with them chinky eyes. You never been real, you in a disguise. Yo, that'd be hot, don't it? What's up, everybody? How is it going on Sunday? Y'all ain't in church on Sunday? Oh man, It is Sunday, right? Y'all ain't getting the Holy Ghost.
Official spokesman for WGU here to talk about competency-based education. It's all about learning, not time in class. So the faster you master the material, the faster you finish.
Knowledge makes me hungry.
WGU.
Most of these beats, this isn't my playlist, but I have most of these beats on my playlist. I got this beat right here too. This shit right here hard as fuck. I do want to write something for this beat right here though. I love this beat, yo. Yeah. I'm in church right now. Shit, I'm giving y'all the gospel right now. Yeah. My complex ion got them looking at me strange. Because my complex ion doesn't look the same. Yeah. My complex ion got them looking at me strange. Because my complex ion doesn't look the same. They tell me 666 is the sign of the beast, but I really know it's carbon, and that's what created me in the physical God particle and spirit molecule. Yeah, I can't remember that other shit, yo. I started trying to freestyle some shit for this damn beat. Cause my complex ion doesn't look the same. We just ions, molecules, particles, and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Just elements. You break that shit down into fucking elements, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a complex ion. But then you put complex and ion together, you get complexion. You get it? Complexion? Complex ion? Yeah. My complex ion got them looking at me strange. Because my complex ion doesn't look the same. My complex ion got them looking at me strange. Because my complex ion doesn't look the same. I'm really gonna write some shit for this beat, yo. Boom, 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 boom. God particle and spirit molecule, but I understand my conscience is astronomical. And we do photosynthesis just like plants, man. Look at my melanin, it absorbs the sun. Yeah, I'm just telling you the truth. How it is I came from the roots, the earth, and Mother Nature, that's the living proof. Cause my complex ion is nothing but some carbon. The basic building molecules, and that made me, and that made me so fucking amazing. Yeah, it sounds crazy that I am God and God is me. I'm part of the universe, and can't you see that every molecule, particle that's inside my body came from somewhere else like a star, way past Mars. Yeah, they call it the Big Bang, but the one thing they can't explain is consciousness inside your brain and your mind. How is that insane? Yeah, cause my complex ion got them looking at me strange. My complex ion doesn't look the same. And my complex ion got them looking at me strange. Because my complex ion doesn't look the same. Because my complex ion doesn't look the same. Yeah, that's gonna be the name of actually I'm gonna do a show. Hopefully I get a spot for a show at the gallery next year. And that's gonna be the name of my show, Complex Ion. And it's gonna be just full of black people. And then white people are gonna be like, I don't understand this complex ion. I don't get it. But these are all black people. It's very strange. It's puzzling. No offense, white people. No, y'all know I love you. They'll get it. Everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody will catch on to it after a while. And I'm gonna do like, I know it seems kind of egotistical because I'm doing a 3-piece self-portrait series now. But my next series is also going to be a 3-piece self-portrait series. Sorry.
So I'm going to be painting myself a lot for a while. But the next series I'm going to do is going to be like me nude 3 times. Just hold your seats. Don't go flying around everywhere. It's not all like that, you know what I'm saying? But I think I'm just going to have myself in like some kind of space background, and then have different atoms, maybe the chemical construct for carbon, the chemical construct for melanin, and then have like the Gattaca, or the for the DNA on one. And so like each canvas is going to be a different element, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be some crazy shit, yo. And that the series is going to overlay the whole show, which is going to be called Complex Ion. And I'm going to write a fucking song to that shit, hopefully, if I get off my ass and actually start writing. That shit almost went up my nose. I'm about to drown myself drinking some tea. I won't even get into heaven for that shit. Travis, you did what? Oh, no, son. That's why I'm taking my medicine, so I don't feel no pain. Yeah, so I don't feel no pain, and I put those endorphins and joy on my brain, and a really big smile on my face, and it makes me feel in my place, like one with the universe and one with nature. I love those herbals, and I just hate those who try to say that it is a drug. Oh no, it's so much love, cause it grows out the ground like that. You don't even do nothing but dry it out and smoke like that. Man, it's not a difficult process, and I can't be conscious and let you diss my fucking plants, so you smoke cigarettes like ants. And that should give you cancer, and that should give you cancer. But my plant is the answer to all of my ailments. So in the fucking morning, I gotta fucking L it. Yeah. It's called Wake and Bake. Then I come in the studio and grab my fucking paints, yeah. Cause I'm medicated and alleviated, stress alleviated, yeah. Makes my pain go away. And it makes my pain go away. Ooh, I love that plant. I love that plant. Ooh, I love that plant. Early in the morning, wake and bake, and then I fucking paint. Ooh, I love that plant. Don't try to diss my plant. Ooh, I love that plant. You calling it a drug, man? Well, it ain't. It's some medication, and that's that dank, man. You better smoke, and you better think about your blood pressure, eating all that fucking red meat, but this'll keep you healthy, man. Just tell me if you ever heard anybody ODing off my Mary Jane, man. That shit too crazy, that shit sound insane. And it help your eyesight too, yeah. That glaucoma, it will do a magical cure if it's that for you, yo. So don't diss my plant, so don't diss my plant, so don't diss my plant.
calling it a drug, well, that ain't true. It just grow like that. Just dry it out, smoke it like that. I'm about to grab some blues and work on this piece of glass. I'm gonna get some yeah, let me see what I'm about to use. I'm gonna use some Prussian blue, and I'm gonna get and I might get some man, I love that cobalt. Something about that cobalt. Nah, I'm gonna get Prussian and some ultramarine is what I'm looking at, you know. That ultramarine blue. That shit just sound blue, like marine, cause it makes you think of like marine animals and marine clothes and shit like that. That makes you think about the sea and the water and the oceans. That shit is already blue just by having it called marine. French ultramarine. This is amazing blue, and I have it in gambling, I think, but I also have it in this Old Holland. Man, this Old Holland is a shit, yo. I love this ultramarine blue and the Old Holland paint. So grab that. So, put a little bit of that. Put a little bit of that on the paper. Some of that stink on that paper. And a little bit of that stink on that paper. And I already got some white. Yeah. That should just be just enough. Complex iron. I'm really high and my vision is slightly blurred. Come on, bro. Man, my rug is starting to crinkle at the edge, so I can never get that wheel over that shit. I need to get a better. I was thinking about just like getting a piece of linoleum and putting in here instead of trying to cover up just this one section of carpet with this other carpet, because I've basically fucked up the carpet in here anyway, except this one spot that's underneath here. But it fucking, my wheel catches right there every time because it has a crinkle in it now. So I was thinking if I just get a roll of linoleum and roll that shit out of here on top of the carpet, then my easel will roll around easier, and I won't have to worry about getting a rug cleaning service. acting like that? You don't never do like I just want you to do. Just fucking sit still. That's, you only have one fucking job. And just sit the fuck still, bro. You ain't gotta do shit. Just stay still, dude. Like, oh my god. Fuck you, PlayStation camera. All you got to do.
Forget all the ways that you made my life feel. But in the end, was it really worth the risk?
I'm trying to get where I'm comfortable and you guys can see at the same time. That shit, that might be a little too low. Let's see. What about that?
All new Charbroiled sliders, starting at just $1. Only at Carl's Jr.
I know you're gonna try to fall.
This is the new way to do your taxes.
Oh, right on my screen.
Live tax experts coming.
This is where I skip commercials.
I had to file a renter's insurance claim one time. Called USAA up, explained exactly what happened. There's nothing fun about making insurance claims, but USAA made the process seamless.
Yo, King, what's up? I only freestyle for the king. I only freestyle for the king. Like Martin Luther. Even if you're peaceful, they still gon' shoot ya. Even if you riot, they want you quiet. If you kneel, you can't be silent, cause that's an act of rebellion, protest. And then they get you. Oh man, I fucked it up. You can't even kneel, cause that's an act of a protest. So they get that and put it to your chest. You gotta, shit.
he handle you? The QuickBooks Self-Employed app gives contractors and freelancers the power of an entire staff.
A cheeseburger that's under 350 calories? Feels like we're getting away with something. You thinking what I'm thinking? Crossing the border and changing our names? No, ordering shakes. And ginger creams.
Get our new flavor pack Sonic Signature Slingers starting at just $1.99. Available for a limited time.
damn man. No fool, that's me, man. Damn. T-Pain. It's T-Pain. I was going to ask my girl if she wanted to go out for breakfast, but I didn't realize how late it was. It's almost fucking 12 o'clock. I'll just eat a snack. Dang, boy. Guess I'll just eat a snack. I don't even know where she went anyway.
That whole sense of adventure and going places with your bike. We started bike flights out of that.
From societies who worship Egyptian gods, naked virgin priestesses, and ceremonial masturbation, to private armies hired as mercenaries by even the US government to help settle disputes that are too secretive or distasteful for public service to be involved, to an organization with what many critics argue have extremist and elitist beliefs and suspect them of hiding something from the world within the Catholic Church. These are the top 10 most secret societies. Number 10, Blackwater. This isn't so much a secret society, but rather a private army. Actually a corporate army that is, publicly funded, but privately accountable. They offer mercenary services, including infantry, navy, and police enforcement to whomever will pay their price. Since they're not a government organization, they're called in frequently to help settle disputes that are too secretive or distasteful for public services to be involved with, like policing the survivors of Hurricane Katrina. They are also considered a reliable, overpowering force for governments facing rebellion by their own people, police, and militaries, like during the financial meltdown in Greece just a couple of years ago. They were frequently mentioned in the headlines as shadowy assassins during America's hunt for Osama bin Laden, and were charged for the random killing and wounding of dozens of Iraqi civilians and children committed by private Blackwater guards. Good news for them though, almost all charges were dropped when it was discovered they were acting under orders of the US government. They did have to pay a fee of $7.5 million for their crime, but only $5,000 went to the grieving families. U.S. Congress approved this low level of family compensation to deter future civilians from intentionally getting killed by mercenaries for money. So don't quit your day job. The company was sold to a French group who renamed it Academic, and now Blackwater is just an Xbox game designed to encourage the next generation of mercenary soldiers to shop around before deciding to enlist. Number 9. The Order of the Skull and Bones. It's just one of those upper crust Ivy League student societies dedicated to manipulating the next generation of the power elite. Oh great, another one. Is anything real anymore? They mockingly refuse membership to all without family names like Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, or Bush. Yeah, those Bushes. In fact, GW and George Sr. and Senator Grandpappy Bush were all members during their time at Yale. But let's keep an open mind. Even Chess Club has its barrier to entry. Anyways, back in 1832, it was originally called the Brotherhood of Death, which somehow doesn't really surprise me, and is America's oldest secret student society. Their meeting hall is called The Tomb and features 2 skeletons standing over a coffin and a chopping block in a candle-lit chamber where they hold pagan rituals. It's not creepy at all. The founder was originally rejected by Phi Beta Kappa, a prestigious honor society of the time, and thus he apparently felt this was an appropriate response to channel his inner evil in a constructive way. Although I'm not really sure how it evolved into a society of future U.S. presidents, politicians, and other powerful people, given this alleged reason for its genesis, which also makes it even...
Helios! こちらハイペリオ。
So I just ate a
状況を報
banana.
告せよ。バルキリー、効果開始まで
Raisins,
10、
raisins.
And more creepy, urban legend has it that the CIA is actually a Skull and Bones invention.
Yo, sour strawberry flavored golden raisins. I don't know who the fuck came up with this shit, man. But this shit tastes like candy. I swear to God. It says no sugar added, but it's you know, hardly any salt, no sugars, just 90 calories. It's like, I don't know. Damn right. But it's a good ass little snack, yo. If you ever see these shits right here, sour strawberry raisins, yo, try them shits. And they got the fucking watermelon raisins. They got all the kind of shit, man. Now I'm about to eat this shit right here. The P3. Got some seeds and some peanuts and some jerky. And listen to some shit about secret societies, because that's how I roll, man. Beef jerky and secret societies.
Which wouldn't normally seem very likely, except for the fact that the CIA denies it so completely, which makes me think it's probably true. Number 8, the Freemasons. Cloaked in secrecy, brothers of this fraternal organization are not allowed to invite new members, nor share any of their secret handshakes, passwords, and strange rituals that they have to perform in order to advance in seniority within the organization. To become one, you have to ask one. And with over 5 million members worldwide, plenty of people have asked. Some pretty influential ones too. Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Henry Ford, Walt Disney, Benjamin Franklin, and Mark Twain, just to name a few. All that talent under one roof seems to keep them at the center of controversy, and they're mixed up in just about every conspiracy theory out there. Like, seriously, if you'd seen the number of times the Masons have popped up.
I tried to get into the Masons twice. Like, when I was in my teenage, well, one time I was 19. They said you got to submit, like, some kind of a formal request or something. Nope. Then when I was like 20 something, nope. And then, like a couple years ago, somebody just came to me and was like, yo, I think you might want to be a part of this organization. You know what I'm saying? You want to discuss it? You can meet us at the lodge and everything. I was like, it's Mason shit. Like, never mind. Because I already know. And the reason I tried to get into that shit when I was a teen, I'll go spill all the beans. Get up with that shit, tell everything. I feel like they gonna kill you. The Masons, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And I know, like, if I join some kind of fraternity like that, I'm still spill the beans. I'm not keeping that shit to myself. But I ain't want no beef with these motherfuckers either. You know, that was some dumb shit. And plus, I got some of their literature right here. The ancient and accepted right. You know, Freemasons. You know? Got some of that shit right here. So I ain't gotta be inducted into the club. I can read the same shit y'all read right now. You know? You'll be about this shit. Damn, these sunflower seeds, delicious.
While I've been researching all these strange mysteries, you'd think that they were the only puppet master around. They've been variously accused of either being the Illuminati, controlling the Illuminati, or being controlled by the Illuminati. But just try asking the average Mason what they know about it, and they'll probably tell you about a potluck dinner this weekend in support of a local charity, which you'll just have to interpret for yourself. Number 7, the Rosicrucians. This mystic Christian fellowship was founded by a group of 8 doctors, alchemists, and sages in the 1400s, in a quest to destroy the one true ring. Jokes aside, that would be cool, but instead they actually dedicated their entire lives to providing free healthcare to anyone who needed it, and would appoint a successor to replace them after they died. Why does this sound so similar to Obamacare? The movement really took hold during the Renaissance era, when a series of 3 documents were published on the newly invented iPhone printing press with Siri. They were called the, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this,
Alma Fraternitatis Rosicrucis Confessio Fraternitatis,
and the Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz. Nope, I'm not joking, that's really what they were called. This set of manifestos preserve the mystic knowledge passed down by Jesus to his disciples when he said, imagine my Jesus voice, quote, unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God, but to others in parables, unquote. Back in the day, these printings sold better than a Stephen King miniseries and led to what was known as the Rosicrucian Enlightenment. They had a profound effect on groups like the Freemasons, especially the more mystic sects like the Scottish Rite that named their 18th Master Mason degree the Order of the Rosy Cross. The organization was said to have only 8 members during its initial development, which coincides with the latter half of someone's life known as Frater CRC, a guy at the core of the society. A guy who is also said to have lived for 106 years and was born in 1378. We have no idea how many there are today, but the Rosicrucians are widespread and numerous, but strangely sworn to secrecy. If you know how many there are, you are one, or you know someone who is one, please leave a comment. Some of us would love to know, but out of respect, please be sure to share it as a parable. Number 6, Ordo Templis Orientis. The Order of the Temples of the East was originally founded as an offshoot of the Masons, kind of like the Stonecutters, but without Steve Gutenberg. But it underwent radical changes when an occult magician known as the Great Beast, Aleister Crowley, took over the leadership. He was pretty notorious back in the day, but in describing the man, Ozzy Osbourne really says it best. Mr. Crowley, what went on in your head? Oh, Mr. Crowley, did you talk to the dead? The cult adopted principles of his religious system, called Thelema, which dictates that, quote, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under the will, unquote. This is set against the background of bizarre pagan rituals involving ancient Egyptian gods and the devil, lots of hashish, naked virgin priestesses, and ceremonial masturbation. Crowley was spying on his own activities for the British Secret Service, since this kind of stuff really fascinated them. But born with a silver spoon, he found his church donations were a little lacking to support his lifestyle, and he ended up freelance writing for Vanity Fair magazine. Number 5, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. This is yet another occult group that grew out of the Masonic and Rosicrucian traditions, but with a much stronger emphasis on ritual magic like spellcasting, astrology, astral travel, crystal balls, and potions. A young Aleister Crowley was one of the Order's most famous members before he left to really get his freak on. The Order's foundational documents are written in English, but encoded with a secret cipher that can only be decoded by members that have allegedly achieved a significant degree of seniority within the ranks. However, being able to decode the writings doesn't really guarantee that they'll make any sense to you, since they're largely based in deeply esoteric belief systems like Kabbalah and Egyptology. Other famous members included Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the writer behind Sherlock Holmes, and Bram Stoker, who wrote the occult novel classic Dracula. Why did all these strange people belong to this society? Number 4, the Knights Templar. Founded almost 1,000 years ago as a kind of highway patrol for pilgrims in the Holy Land, they were originally called the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ. Their emblem was of 2 knights riding on a single horse, emphasizing the order's poverty. But just like the modern-day ride-sharing service Uber, their fortunes exploded when they were granted a headquarters on the site of King Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem. The Knights, that is, not Uber. And they became known as the Templar Knights. With such good PR, suddenly every rich kid wanted to be one and take the vow of poverty, which made the organization very wealthy from donations. So wealthy, in fact, they invented the world's first traveler's checks so that pilgrims wouldn't have to travel with valuables for bandits to steal. As the world's first bank, their treasury grew even greater until one day they loaned an extremely large sum of cash to a king known as Philip the Fair. Ironically, but not surprisingly, he was actually quite unfair. He coveted their fantastic wealth for himself, and since he couldn't repay his loan anyways, he pulled some strings with his cousin, the Pope, whom he had appointed, and had the Templars excommunicated as devil worshippers, disbanded as traitors, and seized all their assets. Day of the arrests, tortured confessions, and burnings at the stake occurred on a Friday the 13th, which gave rise to this dark superstition, and the name of the very cool horror movie series. A few Templars managed to flee the country with their most prized possessions, allegedly the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant, and supposedly ended up in sympathetic Scotland, which was also excommunicated at the time. From there, the Scottish Rite of Freemasons arose and smuggled the treasures to America, where many believe they were buried on Oak Island in Canada. Number 3, everyone's favorite, the Illuminati. As the unofficially self-appointed
Ethiopia says they have the Ark of the Covenant
spokesperson for the Illuminati, I'm in no way whatsoever authorized to tell you we don't really exist, so please stop asking. We are not managing the New World Order through YouTube. We are not implanting you with subliminal thoughts as you binge watch our video playlist. The Illuminati doesn't officially exist, and believe me, covering it up is very tedious. If you don't believe me, just ask the CIA. They will deny everything. At least they better. I told them to. Number 2, Opus Dei. Opus Dei is in the form of some sort of organization within the Catholic Church that may be hiding something important, and according to many critics, allegedly acts as, well, if they're better than other Christians. It is claimed that they strongly emphasize the belief that, quote, everyone is called to holiness, and that ordinary life is a path to sanctity, end quote. I gotta say, that's a pretty deep statement. By the way, sanctity means sainthood or becoming a saint. I had to look that up too, so I assume you may have needed to. Things get weird kind of quick with this one, although you may have to ponder it a bit. This organization has some controversial recruiting methods, something that seems to go against Christian teachings to even have recruiting methods at all, as they tend to accept everyone. They also practice what many may call extreme behaviors, such as mortification of the flesh, which sounds almost as bad as it actually is. The act of physically punishing themselves for atonement of their sins, such as being whipped or something unusual like lying face down on the floor. About 30% of this group is completely celibate, and they all have some form of secular career. Because of their beliefs that seem to go beyond Catholic teachings, strict rules, the fact that they have been known to sponsor authoritarian governments, and their recruitment methods, they have been accused quite a bit of being elitists. Once again, a strange thing in the Catholic Church, which has formed into a theory some believe involves Opus Dei hiding something about the Catholic Church. In the book The Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown proposes, in a way that seems like he's stating a fact, that Opus Dei is an alleged secret organization within the Catholic Church with the goal of defeating another group known as the Priori of Sion, and anyone else who wanted to learn the real truth of Christianity. And also, apparently the royal bloodline of Jesus Christ. Number 1, the Black Hand. This secret military society in the Balkans was formed in 1911 with the aim of liberating the Serbian people from Austro-Hungarian rule. Their half-baked plan was to assassinate the Archduke Franz Ferdinand,
that started World War
like that Franz Ferdinand, who was the heir to the Austrian throne, assuming that this would initiate a war between Austria and Serbia. The first 2 assassination attempts with a car bomb failed to injure the Archduke and his wife, and they managed to escape. But as fate would have it, their driver made a wrong turn and coincidentally stopped to turn around, right in front of the third assassin, who shot them dead. Not gonna lie, doesn't sound like that guy was having too good of a day. Well, Austria did declare war with Serbia, and Russia did come to Serbia's aid, and then Germany joined Austria, and then France joined Russia, and Britain joined France, and the US joined Britain, and so on, until all the major military powers have responded to their various treaty alliances, and World War I was fully underway. 4 years and 16 million deaths later, the war that was supposed to end all wars was ended with the Treaty of Versailles,
And they created
which declared
the League of
the US,
Nations.
Britain, and France as the victors, and Germany as the big loser. And the German people were taxed 80% of their wages to help pay for the war damages. So after 20 years of this, Hitler had a humiliated and fed-up country eating from the palm of his hand, launching World War II, which lasted 6 years and took another 85 million lives. Unfortunately, in the aftermath, the Allied forces and Russia couldn't quite agree on how to maintain peacetime security, and deep divisions grew into the Cold War, which very nearly became World War III and threatened the human race with extinction. The Black Hand was just a small, secret conspiracy group, and really just an assassin cell of 3 members. But that one bullet that killed Franz Ferdinand almost freaking killed all of us, and that's why this is number 1 on our list. You are not done here. It's time to watch this video about the top 10 unsolved mysteries of the internet. Or, if you're more keen on the more secretive things, it's time to watch this video about the top 10 most secret places in the world. Subscribe now, or forever miss out on more insanity like this, coming soon. From unbreakable mysterious codes flooding Reddit to hacking into top secret NASA computers with evidence of otherworldly contact to computers so powerful they could create life with the ability to travel from one side of the universe to the other instantaneously, to a recent creation's attempt at overthrowing government power through their use of currency. These are the top 10 mysteries of the internet. Number 10. Internet black holes. Since the first data transmissions took place across the internet, there have been unexplained losses of data packets during the transfer. These losses trigger no delivery failure warnings and are not easily detectable other than by human observation of the lost traffic. The information has simply been dropped and silently discarded, as though lost through a black hole. Now this is really freaking weird because data packets don't just disappear, they have to go somewhere. Perhaps someone discovered a way to invisibly grab them without a trace to use them for some unknown motive. Wherever this data eventually lands remains a mystery to this day. Even after master network engineers, advanced hackers, and entire internet corporations have tried and failed to solve the mystery. Number 9. GhostNet. In 2009, security researchers were investigating the Dalai Lama's networks, which had been infiltrated, when they discovered the largest cyber spying operation ever known. It had successfully infiltrated sensitive political, economic, and media networks in over 100 countries, including embassies and other government offices. The covert operations were traced to China, but there is no direct evidence linking it to the Chinese government, and the real source remains unknown. Number 8. Gary McKinnon. In 2002, a systems administrator and computer hacker was searching for cover-up info on free energy and UFOs, when he discovered a method of accessing NASA computers via remote desktop connection that were not password protected, which I think we can all agree is a pretty ridiculous mistake on NASA's part. He discovered a picture that shows a straight, tubular-shaped otherworldly aircraft in very high resolution next to a government spacecraft in orbit. Since he did this in 2002, he was on a dial-up connection, causing the massive picture to download and render through his remote connection very slowly. And right as it was about 2/3 of the way finished, someone noticed the computer was being controlled remotely and quickly regained control of the mouse cursor, which Gary watched in some mixture of disbelief and horror as it moved up to the right corner of the window and closed it. Gary's connection was then immediately cut. A few days later, international police from the United States government arrested him at his home in the UK. The US tried to have him face nearly the rest of his life in US jail by, according to them, damaging thousands of government desktop computers, which would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars or more to replace. The same computers the government didn't even bother to create a password for. A remote desktop connection does not destroy hardware at all. Thus, according to Gary, as well as the simple knowledge that a remote desktop connection isn't going to destroy a computer, yet alone thousands of them, the US not only grossly exaggerated their case, but actually straight up lied to try to increase their chances of getting the UK to extradite him. Thankfully, the UK blocked the extradition, but it makes you wonder, what did Gary see that made the US government so angry they go to such lengths as to straight up lie in their aggression towards this foreign man whom just logged onto computers that they didn't even bother to password protect? Number 7. Cicadia 3301. A secretive organization posts an annual puzzle contest with the intention to recruit those rare individuals who are intelligent enough to solve it. The clues are arranged in a virtual treasure hunt, with each one leading to the next. Each clue is a puzzle in itself that must be solved using a variety of code-breaking skills combined with a detailed knowledge of art, music, poetry, and literature. No one has yet revealed who's behind the group or what their motives might be. Number 6. Anonymous. This internet gathering is a loose cannon of the hacktivist community with a, quote, decentralized command structure that operates on ideas rather than directives. Their primary attack strategy involves overloading websites with fake traffic, effectively taking them offline. Their targets have included government, religious, and corporate websites. Since no one knows their identity and the membership is constantly changing, no one knows where these vigilantes will strike next. Now, you may have already heard of a few of these mysteries already, but don't worry, things are just about to get pretty spicy. Number 5. The A858 code. 4 years now, a mysterious user who goes by the name A858, with several numbers and other characters after that, has been consistently posting large blocks of random numbers and letters on Reddit. Nobody knows what they mean, and if it's a code, nobody has cracked it. There's even a whole subreddit called Solving A858 dedicated to breaking the code. This subreddit has discovered some very unusual things about this mysterious user. What is posted has been proven to be a code according to them. Posts continually keep appearing with a delay of only a few seconds between them, but with a very regular interval. The subreddit dedicated to solving the mysterious code also knows it's being closely watched by the A858 account, as if the entity is trying to make sure the Solving A858 subreddit group isn't making any progress on solving the code. Mysteriously, the subreddit wipes all of its posts and then turns itself private, but only after a sudden large amount of users visit it. It's as if all these users that appear out of the blue are part of whom he is trying to secretly communicate with, go in, retrieve all of the code he has posted, which then allows the data to be erased. Who knows? A few times, this user has posted codes that were coded differently than his usual ones, which were able to be cracked by those that followed him. It's as if he just wanted to play a game with these people. One pretty funny thing he did was make one of the codes translate into a text image of Stonehenge, which was signed like a painter with the account's username, A858. Strangely, after 4 full years of doing this, 20 days ago as of today, the account mysteriously stopped posting. Number 4. Mariana's Deep Web. The internet can be defined in layers. The 2 surface layers represent all the public and password-protected activity on the internet. The 3rd layer is a creepy black market network, The fourth layer is all the private, government, and corporate networks. And finally, the mythical deepest layer is rumored to be an evolved artificial intelligence that gathers all human knowledge, including, allegedly, the location of Atlantis and Tesla's free energy, like the Vatican archives of the internet. But apparently, it can only be accessed by means of polymeric Fagolial derivation. I have no idea what that is, but it's something apparently only a quantum computer can do. Quantum computers don't exist, at least as of yet. Then again, many suggest the stories of this place are purely fictional. But if quantum computing becomes a reality and artificial intelligence forms from it, a supersensual AI such as this could evolve, just like the machine Neo faces at the very end of The Matrix. But as you'll soon learn, even this may sound boring compared to the other potential possibilities of quantum computing. Number 3. Quantum computer revolutions. Moore's law states that the number of transistors in a circuit doubles every 2 years, indicating the ever-increasing computing power of modern processors. This is fast, but what about when the inherent way the computers process information changes completely? At a certain point in time, quantum computing, which does this, may become a reality. Particles even smaller than atoms have behaviors so strange, Einstein actually labeled them as the spooky laws of quantum mechanics, as they seem to violate laws of the universe, such as perhaps sending information faster than the speed of light. There are two behaviors we can theoretically take advantage of: superpositioning and entanglement, but only when scientists figure out how to. When and if they do, quantum computing would allow us to instantly process unlimited data, decrypt any password or security code, solve problems in medicine that would allow us to conceivably cure any disease, exponentially increase the advancement of space exploration, create sentient artificial intelligence, and, well, basically tell us the best way to do just about anything. It could even allow us, or possibly the AIs, like in a certain movie, to simulate our entire world. Beyond that, scientists don't even understand what the implications of having controllable quantum computing may bring. Perhaps traveling through dimensions or time will become a reality. Or perhaps we will learn that even the ability to do either of those is child's play when compared to what else quantum computing could allow us to do. Number 2. Godlike artificial intelligence. Imagine that quantum computers are a reality. Conscious digital minds seem to be in our near future. Such beings could exist in many places throughout the deep web at once, traveling to new connections at the speed of light, or, if scientists figure out how to exploit the entanglement behavior of quantum particles, much faster, the speed of instantly, which according to some theories would also allow them to travel through time, as well as instantly teleport from one end of the universe to the other. For now, the current implications of artificial intelligence involve convenience items, such as self-driving cars, which are kind of exciting steps, but a little bit boring. However, that excitement changes when further possibilities are considered. Things might get a little bit creepy. Perhaps our police force could be replaced by robots, such as in the movie Chappie. Concerned scientists, including Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates, recommend caution that we don't allow the machines to take over. But will we even have a choice? Innovation to the fullest extent will continue and can't really be controlled. Perhaps it's just someone's insatiable curiosity tinkering away in a garage that crosses the line. Number 1. The mysterious reason Bitcoins were invented. Was it to remove government power and create a better world? Now, why is this number 1? Because it, or some derivative of it, affects the entire world at the present moment. It has the potential power to dramatically impact the lives of everyone by removing all control governments have over their citizens if enough people begin accepting it, or some derivative of it, over government-sanctioned currency. Yet, no one knows why Bitcoins were actually ever even created. If you haven't heard of them before, Bitcoins are a type of virtual decentralized cryptocurrency, meaning they aren't tangible. All transactions are peer-to-peer, aka directly from one person to the other without going through something like a bank as an intermediary, and without the need for an intermediary, there's no reason for a central bank, which normally acts as an authority figure to regulate the flow of money through various means. Something that certain people, well, a lot of people, believe is very harmful to the economy. Although all transactions of the currency are publicly available to see, all transactions are completely anonymous. Since no one can control Bitcoins in the way governments control the money supply, and especially since transactions are anonymous, as Bitcoins were used more and more, as happened with them in the past 2 years, instead of real money for transactions, they grew in value and started to replace normal currencies at an alarming rate. Governments became a little worried. If potentially completely losing all forms of authoritative control on their economy wasn't enough, if users of the currency are anonymous, how does the government collect taxes? They can't know how much money you make or even have. They can't monitor banking transactions of Bitcoins or any digital currency, therefore leaving the door wide open for citizens to evade taxes, participate in illegal activities, and much more. A world where governments lose this economic control prevents them from not only artificially influencing the economic process by, for example, printing more money and causing inflation, but also allows the economic process to exist naturally, a state that is infinitely more beneficial to humanity depending upon which theory one chooses to believe. Loss of government power over money also gives its citizens true freedom to do whatever they please with their money, resulting in, depending upon your economic beliefs, a world where trade increases dramatically and its economy flourishes like never before. All of humanity's standards of living would increase dramatically, as well as would our advancement in all areas, such as technology or medicine, at a much faster rate. Based upon the opinions of many, this ultimate outcome was the true purpose of Bitcoin's creation. Although, if it's any indication as to what Bitcoins could have done, or another currency like it may do one day, the Chinese government became so scared of them, they attempted an outright ban on their use in their country. One which was a bit contradictory, because all transactions are completely anonymous. However, they did succeed in scaring enough Chinese citizens that the currency did slow down. No one can really agree as to why Bitcoins were invented in the first place, as no one really knows who created them, causing their true purpose to remain a mystery. I'm only just starting to have fun with you. Check out our top 10 Nazi secret superweapons video, or our top 10 creepiest science experiments video. Everyone else already has, just like they've also clicked subscribe, so they don't miss out on any other future crazy, mysterious, and strange videos being published very soon. Otherwise, there's more beautiful music just for you.
When we imagine people living in caves and hunting their own food, we see that as barbaric. When we imagine life without electricity or an indoor toilet, we think, how could you possibly live like that? And for some people today, just going 10 minutes without Wi-Fi and a latte is considered the realm of the savage. As society moves on and progresses, it brings us to new technological heights. It reduces our exposure to harmful things, and it offers more equality for previously repressed people. But as it does so, this progress illuminates the backwards nature of our former selves. So with that in mind, we're going to take a look at the possibilities of the future in a whole new light by considering the aspects of today's society that will be considered inhumane, immoral, or just plain stupid in the future. 15. Prison. The current reoffending rate for prisoners in the United States is 60%. Even worse, it is responsible for a quarter of the world's prison population. These statistics make for pretty bad reading. But if America and a few other countries took a leaf out of Sweden's book, things might just change for the better. Whereas the U.S. prison system is dangerously overcrowded, Sweden is currently in the process of closing down some of its facilities due to lack of use, as they only have 4,500 inmates out of a 9.5 million population, which is roughly 1 in every 2,000 people. Compare this to the USA, where 1 out of every 110 people is incarcerated, and you begin to see why something may not be quite right. The purpose of law should not be to create some crazy politician's idea of society, nor should it be to exact revenge. And, in a bizarre sense, it should not even compensate victims. The sole purpose of law should be to reduce crime. And if prison systems are doing the opposite of that, then something has to change. When our hospitals were making people sick due to the infections they caught, did we just carry on, cross our fingers, and hope for the best? No! We altered our working practices, policies, and procedures. So is the challenge now to reform our prisons, creating an environment more conducive to the rehabilitation of human beings. Unfortunately, the policy of most governments today is to throw criminals into a locked room with other bad guys and make them promise to be good once they come out. In Sweden, they treat their prisoners with respect, attempting to understand why that person did what they did, regardless if they were busted for smoking reefer or the most heinous of acts against humanity. They're all treated the same. And the result? Sweden has a 40% reoffending rate. So Sweden wins. The question is, will this lower crime long term? Will the future see all of humanity adopting this humane strategy? Will we begin to take a closer look at the psychology of criminals, their mental state, and other crucial factors such as race and poverty? Once you start treating humans like animals, they behave accordingly. But if prisons can change and become a place where people positively transform their lives, maybe, just maybe, we can be saved from another crappy reboot of Prison Break. And isn't that the real victory humanity needs right now? 14. War. At some point in human history, war will be eradicated, either due to technology, a sufficiently enlightened and advanced society, or a race of space hippies who come along and put flowers in our plasma rifles. This utopian civilization is obviously not going to occur for millennia, but war as we know it, that's already an outdated concept. When we think of conflict today, we consider the brutal trench warfare of the First World War and the decades of conflict in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. We think of millions of human boots on the ground, man-operated vehicles, and humans taking the lead in orchestrating missions designed to make tiny gains in land and infrastructure. But all of that is about to change, and we'll see such wars as archaic and foolish, because the next major conflict is likely to be extremely fast and extremely lethal. Albert Einstein predicted this with his famous quote, "I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." Now, the problem with this statement is that it simply hasn't come true, and it likely won't, as Einstein imagined a future where weapons became more powerful and spectacular than anything we have today. Earth-destroying nukes are, of course, still a major threat to society. But because the launch of one certainly means the launch of hundreds, the prospect of mutually assured destruction has kind of put people off the idea of turning their foes into an irradiated puddle of goop. So rather than making weapons lethal out of sheer explosive power, we've made them deadlier by improving their efficiency at targeting individual threats. However, the worrying part is that we're now beginning to bypass humans at a certain point in the decision-making process, replacing them with machines. A recent quote by the U.S. Army's Major General William Hicks illustrates this perfectly, as he commented that, "The speed of events are likely to strain our human abilities. The speed at which machines can make decisions in the far future is likely to change our ability to cope, demanding a new relationship between man and machine." Right now, there are AI-programmed drones in the skies above the world's major theaters of warfare. And thankfully, these crafts still require a large level of human input in order to function correctly. But what happens when they don't? Will we look back at warfare today as old-fashioned, but in a good way? How will war change when you can send a squadron of hyper-fast lethal killing machines to wipe out your enemy's forces? Will we target drone operators or commanders rather than scores of infantry soldiers? Would we feel okay with a swarm of tiny nanobots reducing a whole army of humans to a fine pink mist? At what point will human combatants become obsolete? And how will we cope when our all-powerful killing machines make a mistake? Especially if it was a mistake the machines let happen. 13. Pooping. That war entry was pretty heavy. So, let's lighten the load a little by considering how humans might relieve themselves in the future. The act of dispensing our collective waste has taken several giant leaps over the course of mankind's history, as from our humble beginnings of pinching one off in the bush, humanity now enjoys the benefit of defecating in relative comfort, thanks to the invention of sewage systems and flushing toilets. Yet many people worldwide still don't have this option. Then there's the small matter of how to clean yourself up. Historically, we used sponges on sticks, wads of leaves and moss, and the Romans even had communal butt cloths to wipe themselves down while pooping in streams and rivers. Today, obviously, we're far too classy for that, using scrunched up recycled paper to scotch our mess away. But will future toilet historians see our use of the toilet as being as barbaric as the butt cloth? Maybe. So how will we do it? Hopefully it won't involve the 3 seashells from Demolition Man. That sounds kind of pinchy. We've had all sorts of devices pitched to us as the future of human toilet time, from vacuums and water jets through to toilets that stop your poop smelling bad. But the most likely end game for our dirty, dirty bottoms is that we may not need to poop at all. Or at least if we do, it won't be as messy. With the advancement of nutritional science, we may be able to develop food which has 0 waste products. So in that instance, the only things you'll need to get rid of are the dead bacteria, mucus, fats, and salts your body excretes. And mopping this up might be as simple as blowing your nose. Have you ever seen a future sci-fi movie where folks are barebutt sneezing in public? No! Because nobody except Strange Mysteries thinks of this stuff. You're welcome for that image. And if we can rid ourselves of this mucus excretion too, who knows? We might be able to use your now redundant cavity as some kind of special pocket. You want to mug me for my smartphone? Go for it, pal. It's waiting for you right here between my sweet cheeks. 12. Torturing animals. Animals make us laugh, they make us cry, and they also make us full with their delicious, tasty flesh. If you've watched our recent video on 6 life-changing future developments, you'll know we discussed how synthetic meat may change our attitudes towards other living creatures. And when this happens, future society won't look back kindly on the way we treated our innocent animal allies. At the risk of inciting a memoir in the comment section, let's bring the subjects of 2 recent animal cruelty stories into the discussion. All praise be to Lord Cecil and King Harambe, 2 animals who were shot by humans for unconvincing reasons and whose deaths sparked an international outcry. But where is the outcry for the millions of baby chicks minced alive to make the Colonel's produce? Why does nobody care for the cows, pigs, and sheep slaughtered mere months into their life, having spent their early years wallowing in their own filth? And does nobody care what happened to the pig who played baby? I hope he's okay. It's all well and good raising heck at the idea of a rich dentist popping a cap in the king of the jungle. Can you really do this with a straight face? If while you're complaining, you're also stuffing your mouth with 100 nuggets for 99 cents. As man begins to reduce its use of live animals for meat, we'll also see the same trend extend to scientific experimentation. Artificial human organs and flesh are well on their way. And once their production costs decrease, we'll have a far more accurate way of testing drugs and treatments. Once this happens, we'll perhaps start to value animal life, becoming a society more at one with nature. Maybe we'll allow creatures to roam amongst us. Maybe we'll give bonobos the vote. It's hard to say exactly what this world will look like, But it's not impossible that one day we'll consider the murder and torture of merely sentient beasts as equal to those same crimes being committed against those that are self-aware. And I, for one, cannot wait for a time when the police are forced to investigate cheeky monkey murders. 11. Education. It's fun when you know something your parents don't know, isn't it? Whether it's a neat fact about the world or how to program a Blu-ray player, we all feel that little bit superior when we get to teach the people who made us something new. But did you know that for centuries, human beings have been increasing in IQ until we stopped doing that just recently? The idea of one generation becoming smarter than the next has been observed and noted since the 1930s with something called the Flynn effect, which used IQ tests to measure the intelligence of a population over a period of time. Scores in these tests have risen consistently in developed nations since they began, leading many to believe that thanks to our increasing efforts in education, every generation has been getting smarter than their parents. Inevitably, if this continued, it would lead future generations being intellectually superior to us. But this might not actually be the case, as for some reason, humans are getting dumber. IQ scores in developed countries have either stalled or decreased slightly, and the reasons for this are not yet known. They could be indicative that the Flynn effect was flawed, with nutritional improvements or lack of disease affecting the results. Or alternatively, it could be that we've hit a natural barrier for improving human intelligence using our existing educational methods. James Flynn himself believes this to be the case, especially as our current educational systems seem to have a habit of teaching children to memorize answers to a test. Many have called for a reorganization of the school system, as they believe it has now outlived its usefulness. But whatever method we replace it with, hopefully we'll figure it out soon, before we get too stupid to remember what speaky word learn do. 10. Fossil fuels. Let's face it, folks, this one is so obvious and easy, we're only going to give it 2 script paragraphs. Our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren will judge us to high HE double hockey sticks for all the random stuff we burn just to keep our butts warm. We've had viable alternatives to oil, gas, and coal for decades now. Yet we still persist in ruining the planet and fighting wars in order to continue our love-in with fossil fuels. Just let it go, folks. Fossil fuels don't love us back. They're so bad for us. All our friends said so, but we didn't listen. The sun loves us, though. It's always loved us. So isn't it time to take our giant ball of hot life-giving gas out of the friend zone? Nuclear power, solar energy, tiny hamsters in wheels. Literally anything would be better than the over-reliance we currently have on ancient dinosaur mush dug out of the ground. If we don't change things soon, we're going to seem as retrospectively dumb as those people in the 50s who smoked cigarettes thinking it was good for them. Or those girls who put mercury in their eyes to give them a sparkling shine. Is that what you want, folks? Do you want to look stupid in front of future people with their hover shorts and orgasm rays? I certainly don't. So let's get our asses in gear. Oh, speaking of asses. 9. Sex. Things could go either one of 2 ways here. Either we're going to get a whole lot freakier with a bunch of new gadgets enabling us to get down and dirty in new and depraved ways, or we'll turn into a race of complete germaphobes afraid of touching each other. The first option is clearly the more tantalizing prospect. And it leads to a future where people will see our society as being as sexually repressed as those who came before us, if you'll pardon the pun. 100 years ago, those conservative old wimps were shocked at the sight of a woman's ankles during foreplay. But today, we enjoy all manner of insertion, extraction, and elaborate activities while we make love. But let's not pat ourselves on the back with a diamond-studded leather paddle, because there are many aspects of human sexuality which still remain firmly in the closet. Just think. Masturbating was widely considered a sin until very recently in human history, and the female orgasm was only acknowledged in the 1960s, with some folks to this day still figuring out how to achieve one. However, due to the restrictions placed on people by the ideals of masculinity, femininity, and morality, there are some things many of us are unwilling to do to get our rocks off. But this is beginning to change. In 2014, the UK sex toy website Lovehoney announced they'd sold 1 million sex toys over the previous 12 months, including vibrators, nipple clamps, and penile rings. If you connected all of the 120,000 penile rings they sold that year, you'd have enough to encircle the Empire State Building 20 times. The people inside might be annoyed, but you could definitely do it. Now, could you imagine people buying sex toys in this volume 50 years ago? Can you imagine your grandpa buying a sex toy? Don't do it, but can you? It wouldn't happen, because since then society has become less anxious and more public about our sexual desires. As generations pass, taboos often fade into oblivion, and what we see as kinky and weird today could be entirely acceptable in the future. But there's also the chance things could move drastically in the opposite way should a major event change our order of priorities. If a new sexually transmitted disease came out that turned your genitals into soup, or somehow alerted your mom every time you were having sex, then we'd suddenly have to redefine how much physical contact we deemed acceptable. Sex and relationship expert Dr. Laura Berman believes we'll go down this route and start using elaborate technology and neurological analysis to have better, but less intimate sex in the future. In this scenario, our current habit of touching each other physically in a sexual manner would be seen as the behavior of a barbarian, with a more clean, clinical approach taken to getting each other off. You know what? I always thought barbarians had a bad rep anyway, so I'm going to keep on as I am. Thank you very much, Dr. Lady.
Oh, damn.
8. Slavery. Oh, hey, what's this entry doing in here? Didn't we outlaw slavery like a bazillion years ago? Well, America did, and so did many other countries around the world. But in fact, the number of enslaved people is estimated to be larger now than it ever has been at any point in human history. Sorry, Mr. Lincoln, just like John Wilkes Booth, you gave it a pretty good shot, but there's still work to do. There are approximately 30 million people living in modern slavery today, and this industry generates $32 billion for people traffickers every single year. Around 3/4 of these slaves are used for labor purposes, and the remaining quarter are enslaved for sex. 55% of all slaves are women and girls, and nearly half of the world's slave population can be found in India alone. Out of 162 countries ranked in order of its slave population, the U.S. came in at 134th. That's not bad, but it's nowhere near the best, with an estimated 60,000 slaves still living in the United States today. The UK, Ireland, and Iceland jointly top the list of countries with the smallest slave population at 0.006% of their country's people, compared to the highest ranked 4% in Mauritania. But Britain's 0.006% still means more than 4,000 people are living in bondage inside the borders of the world's 6th largest economy. And that's the best percentage in the world. Admittedly, this translates to only 19 people in Iceland, but that's no consolation if you're one of those 19 people. Slavery is something we in the West thought had disappeared from the face of the earth a long time ago. But not only is it still present in most corners of the globe, it's also prevalent in our own backyards. History will judge slavery as one of the greatest sicknesses our planet has ever endured, and this is something we'll be dealing with for a long time yet. 7. Politics.
Hey guys, I've been here about 2.5 hours, and I'm hungry. I had some snacks and shit, but that ain't cut it at all. I'm about to go grab something to eat, and after I get something to eat, I'll be back in here, you know, because I really need to finish this painting in like the next day or so I can start on the next dank canvas. But you can see here, I'm starting to add more highlights and softening up the skin tones a little bit. I stopped right there at the wrist, so when I come back I'll work on this hand and this arm here and some of the face and around the mouth, and then the legs. So I'll be back in here in a couple hours, man. I'm about to grab some to eat. Yo, appreciate y'all chilling with me for a little while. Peace.